Next speaker, Horst Simon from United Arab Emirates. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Good afternoon. Very quickly, I'm going to give the UAE country update. And I would like to first point out that the UAE has a national strategy, which is now already 4 years or 5 years old, and it's a plan for 31 in terms of AI. And that strategy has, of course, great impact on HPC. I will try to capture everything that's going on, but I have not captured all of my university colleagues. And so I will mention a little bit more as we go through this. The interesting thing is for Stanford, AI index lists for UAE and number 8, and since I like benchmarking and know how to manipulate indices, I know how you can manipulate this and change for weighting to move UAE up to number 3, but I cannot move UAE up to beat China or the US. So in that sense, the ranking is stable, but I believe it's still an interesting outlook on the capabilities, and you can look at the factors that Stanford has put into the ranking here. Anyway, I think this is a great consequence of the national focus on AI. And I'd like to focus on the famous, but not so famous because they have a very low profile, Group 42 or G42, which is a large conglomerate of companies under their G42 heading. It was created in 2018. And it is the company that's the underpinning for UAE's national data cloud and AI strategy with a global expansion footprint. And if you look at all the companies that are there, then you see there's space, there's medical. You see there the Mohammed bin Zayed University of AI is involved in there. And then you also see Cerebras on the bottom, which is an interesting connection to next technologies. So G42 is building UAE's compute stack, and so the combined compute power under G42 is considerable, is 0.39 exaflop. I'll show the next chart on the current top 500 list. And there is a great capacity in terms of FP16 for AI training. And it's a very large company, and here are the G42 core 532 machines on the top 500 list. Now you'll find this particularly oddity that number 18 and number 24 on the list are actually installed in the US. And then you look at the technology and you'll find that these machines still waiting for some legal issues to be resolved to be actually exported. The other 3 machines are based in the UAE. And so that's an interesting perspective, is that the company runs actually 5 top 500 systems, but only 3 are in the country. But the outlook for G42 is very bright. They have signed a large number of MOUs just in the last year. There is a US collaboration, a UAE-US AI campus, and then Stargate UAE, and you see the gigawatt, what I always call the AI factory bragging numbers. And you see that there are other partnerships that G42 is engaging in moving high-end computing forward. And in particular interest, what I find fascinating is the collaboration with Cerebras, and the situation is similar. G42 is managing 2 data centers in the US, which currently have the Condor Galaxy 3, the CG3 system, installed in the US. And then if you look at news releases, there was very recently in Cerebras G42 joint enterprise announced to build a big data center in India. So a lot of things are happening on. Then there is the Technology Innovation Institute, that's an applied research lab on technologies that are of direct, I would say, national security impact. They are running a top 500 cluster, a 40 GPU cluster. And TII was the institution that 2 years ago created the Falcon models. And these were in the early days of large language models, the first Arabic language models that were developed on this platform. I'm very much associated with Khalifa University and on their board of trustees. And so Khalifa University is a research university being ranked actually very well and very highly, focused on science and engineering applications, you see there. And research computing at KU is getting a big upgrade. This is not on the list yet, so this is something that will happen in 26. It says new for 25, but this will be happening in 26. That will be a 200 CPU, 80 GPU node cluster, and by some back of the envelope calculation, that would be probably in the mid 200s on the top 500 rank once and it's a very, for a mid-sized university, a very strong cluster. Now, the national oil company in the UAE is called ADNOC. ADNOC is not home to a very large system, unlike we just heard in Saudi Arabia. And so if you read carefully through this here, you see that ADNOC is working very closely with Microsoft, and I think it's pretty fair to say that they are running many of their applications through Azure and also with G42. So this is but like every company in the UAE has an AI plan. This is ADNOC's AI plan. Now, my own institution is ADIA Lab. We are independent and we are funded by the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, which has in Abu Dhabi a similar role to the PIF in Saudi Arabia. It is has $1 trillion assets under management, but is operating in a way very different than other of the sovereign wealth funds. And so ADIA created a research lab that I had the pleasure of leading since late 22. And we have decided to focus on the following application areas: climate science, health science, digital economy, and material science. That will be started up later in 26. And these are the application thrusts that are built on top of basic research in trustworthy AI and in supercomputing and HPC research. So just very briefly, since it connects very well to what we heard about from colleagues in Morocco and also in Saudi, is that there's a focus on climate, and we're planning to build the co-pilot, the climate co-pilot. And in the bottom you see a sort of a generic vision for this project is that we will collect multimodal data from satellite imagery, sensor data, climate model, and build a system that we then can query the system and could ask questions that are pertaining to climate, in particular agricultural impact of local climate and water. So this is our vision, and so this is where we think we will have data and coverage. In particular, focus is locally in Abu Dhabi City, the UAE, then the Arabic Peninsula, and then the General MENA region. And so I think there are opportunities to reach out and collaborate, and what we are thinking is that we can also use downscaling of global models to the local scale. Then I would like to switch. That sounds like a completely different topic, which is for digital economy thrust areas. So this is, of course, very important. So you could think of these topics in the digital economy as AI for economy finance, so looking at AI of improving economic modeling, but also looking at digital assets, that is tokenizing assets and making them then tradable digitally. And then look at the digital AI infrastructure. What do we need to build to support large digital economy? And then, of course, looking at the impact of AI on economics, that is on job markets and job creation. So we just released an RFP to collaborate with ADIA Lab in the digital economy, which was very successful. We had 130 proposals. They came from all over the world, and they responded to our 4 thrust areas, and this is for distribution. So being in Germany, I'm wondering why there wasn't a single German collaboration, but you see there's European collaboration and Asian collaboration all across the world. Another thrust that we have is health science, so I'll skip over this. And I'll also skip over the trustworthy AI and some projects we're doing in agentic AI. And just want to again point out that one of the notion that I like to promote for ADIA Lab is to build international outreach. And we have a large number of collaborators, and we currently have in health and in climate science, that is awards that were main projects for the award. Yes, I'm done. And so then I'll say thank you, and I certainly would like to talk with you if you have any interest in any of those topics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we do not have time for questions. If you have questions, please go ahead and talk directly to Horst Simon. Thank you very much for coming.